like some kind of porn aspects of pictures. And so it was, I don't know if it's algorithms that like, hey, I don't be looking at a lot of porn, or at least unadmittedly. And so, and so maybe because I don't go to a lot of porn on this computer, maybe it just isn't, the algorithms doesn't show it or force it to show up, you know, to show those things. Right. But I was actually impressed that I was able to look at it and didn't see that, right? If you ever, I don't know if all coaches do that, but sometimes like out the blue, I'll just look up black man and see what it says. And I'll just look up, because that thing can consistently change, like, right? What's on that first page when it says that? But what it did say is it says celebrities paid to have the coronavirus, Cardi B. This is what it says on by Muhammad Awal, AWAL or AWAL. So I'm not verifying that that's the case. I'm just saying that did pop up along with those other things. Celebrities paid to say they have the coronavirus, and then Cardi B popped up. So I just think that's, both things are interesting in obviously two completely different ways. But what I'm interested in getting, you know, I can't pretend that I can sit here and laundry list a bunch of Black queens in terms of, if we're thinking of queen meaning like someone who actually had a kingdom, and then in that case, I'd have to go back to Africa for that, right? Unless we start using that word kingdom to mean something else, right? So Madam C.J. Walker, I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Have you seen it yet?
Seriously?
I have not yet.
Well, it's a really good movie, first of all, with Loretta Devine, and if I'm saying that right, or Divine, or what have you. But it's a really good movie. But you know, most of us, if you're of a certain age, you know a little bit about Madam C.J. Walker. So just the things that she did, I could consider that a queendom, right? Because once you see the movie, there's parts of it that I didn't know, and then you see it in the movie, and like, oh, she had this, and I don't want to tell everybody in the movie in case you haven't seen it, but she's the first woman millionaire, or female, right? Millionaire in the entire country, not white, Black, the first woman to be a millionaire in this country at a time where people who look like us didn't have it so easy. And then so to me, I felt like she had this queendom because the majority of the people that work for her also looked like her.
Yeah.
Right. And people, listeners, if this is bugging you out to hear me say like it's important that they look like her and that's kind of rubbing you wrong, well, you know, you click this button to listen. Because everybody who talks about their prospective queen is probably talking about somebody that looks like them. And so I don't want people to get just all caught in their feelings about that if I bring up Black queens. And so I'm wondering for you, do you know of any famous Black queens from Africa, either of you? And if not, then who would you consider Black queens, aside from like our mothers and sisters and that, but who would you consider Black queens or that represent that in this country? If you don't know any from any other country.
In this country sucks. So the Black women who I would consider queens are true queens. They really prevailed. They really made it, man. I think making it in America, a lot of people say the American dream, that's something good. But for a Black woman to make it in America, that itself is a feat. That itself. So you said besides moms, but you can't exclude moms. I mean, and I know you don't mean it in any ill will, of course not, but
no,
I mean, her mom died when she was like 13 or 14 years old. She was born and raised in Compton. Her dad was absent. So for her to go through all of that, move to Oakland at 13, 14 years old, going to Castlemont, one of the worst schools in at least the Bay Area. I can't speak for all of California, but at least the Bay Area at the time. And then be happy every day. Share her happiness every day. And then make me and make my sister and make my dad happy. That's a queen. So that's a standard for me, man. course, the lady I talked to, that's a queen. I mean, just going through tons of jobs, just having this glass ceiling that Black women cannot get above, but still just not quitting, just simply not quitting and having hope to put food on the table, to make me happy, to make her family happy. That's not easy. And women make it look easy, man. They make it look really easy. They do it without frowning. And when they do frown, we get mad at them, tell them, why you not smiling so much? Or you look better when you smile. It's like, do you know what I went through? Because I don't. You know what I mean? Like, men don't know what you went through. So the audacity of a man to tell a Black woman, why won't you smile? Or you look better when you smile. So for me, every Black woman either is a queen or has the potential to be a queen and just doesn't know what they're worth. They don't know that they are enough yet. But every Black woman born is a queen. And there's nothing that anyone can say. You can show me bad, quote unquote, bad examples. You can show me the quote unquote thoughts, the ratchets, all of the stuff that a lot of people love going to. You can show me all of that. But there's not a doubt in my mind that every Black woman walking right now either is a queen currently or is a compliment away, or just a mindset away of just walking in that queendom.
And I think that, go ahead.
That is so ironic that you said that about the smiling thing, because I saw something like yesterday and it said, like, you know how hard it is to get a Black woman to smile? Like, if you get her to smile, like, you know, that's really good. Because when we go into talking about queens, I started to research queens, and then I was like, you know what? Like you said, everybody's a queen, because as a Black woman, they basically carry America on their backs, like, and in their wombs. So they carry their men too. So
and through their milk,
in their milk, and then they're carrying their men too. So you look at, you know, Coretta, and you know, they carry their men because, like, they carry so much, so they're strong. So I believe that everything that's passed down, all this endurance, and all these women that are going through these different changes in life, I mean, they don't have guidance, but they're queens, but they just don't know it yet. They have it in them, you know? It's to me, it's just DNA.
Yeah. Well, and I you know, I certainly want to give a shout out to certainly all the queens in my life, in no particular order. Let me say that before I, you know, if I say a particular order and then I say mom first and then my wife second and my wife first, I don't want no problem. But generally speaking, I certainly want to honor all of them. Shout out to any of you queens that are listening to this. But I, for me, I'm thinking more along the lines of everything that you said that you appreciated about your prospective queens, right? And I don't mean your perspective like they're not queens to others as well. And I'm thinking about, like, who exemplifies that, and who's popular that exemplifies that, right? Gotcha. So, like, you know, of course, my mind want to go to Michelle Obama. Yeah. She's a queen. And she can never be brought up too much. So some people will be like, oh, there they go bringing up. Well, that's gonna happen. The same reason, but we do that to ourselves too, right? We get tired of them bringing up Harriet Tubman. And we get tired of them only bringing up, and it's not like we're against those ones when they, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just saying that there's so many more that we're sleeping on because you're only teaching these certain ones. But having said that, I'm thinking about people like Michelle Obama. I'm thinking about Queen Latifah, not just because her name starts with Queen, but how she's transcended and what she's done coming from this hip hop background. I'm a hip hop baby, original hip hop baby. And so when I look at just a couple of those people, I look at like, okay, so I know that there's somebody who will want to say Oprah, right? And then there's some other people who would shun that. But there's probably, you know, but that's part of being a queen too, right?
Yeah.
Is you're gonna have people that don't like your queendom.
Of course, yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're not a queen. It
yeah.
means that this is a kingdom that you wouldn't want to be a
part of.
Like, okay, you gotta.
It's just
I believe
different
that.
type of queen.
And not just because she's rich. I think about some of the things that you said of what people have had to put up with, what they've had to deal with,
and just overcame. You know, just the strength of that. Like, come on, like queens that have led armies and stuff. Like I could never imagine like a queen being able to lead an army, take over a country, and then just rebuild it. Like how? You know?
And there has been
there
some
is.
queens that absolutely have taken over and popular contrary to popular belief, you know, do your history. And if you go back far enough and you go past certain colorless skin tones that you see coming out of Egypt, and you go past that, you will consistently see that skin get darker and darker. And there were some queens represented in that time that also I like to claim through my bloodline, right? That did their thing, but all over the place, you know, queen. There are islanders who, in the very beginning of the origins, you know, people haven't always been on these islands, right? So when you look at Tongans and Samoans and all of our islander families, they hadn't always been there, which means that they came from somewhere else, right? But when they did get there, they actually had. There's a particular word for this that's not coming to me, but there's a word for when it is ran, when the women have the higher role in the tribes and villages and in the community, right? And the women had higher roles in a lot of those situations. And you even go to like the Alaskans, which I wish I knew that original name because they didn't prefer Alaskans way back then. But nevertheless, when they were out there going to hunt seals, usually that's like, okay, the men go out to hunt the seals or the meat or whatever, and a woman stays there and do. But no, these women were going out there with the men hunting the seal. So if you look at like, and this is, you got to do your own skin evolution studying. But if you look at those thick calves and stuff, that's not an accident why certain cultures, that calf in this culture, they both have them, like, you see that as something that's normalized because they was doing half the work, right? And if you look at it, they were actually doing more than half the work, because if you look at a woman doing the exact same things as a man, plus having kids, so you know what I'm saying? Plus being a nurturer this other kind of way, then that automatically makes her job, to your point of what you said earlier, that makes her a queen even more because of even those abilities, in my opinion. And that's cross culture. You're a woman and you're able to bring life and to put life and those kinds of things, and the pain and all that. There's something to that too, but I don't want to downplay it by acting like, oh, you're more of a queen because you can have a baby. No. Like, oh, is that the only thing you think? We just have babies and cook and we're a queen.
That's great, you know, reproducing. But we do have a lot of, you know, and I didn't even know that there were queens in China. Like, wow, like African queens.
There were. Thank you for saying it that way.
Wow.
Not only were there queens in China, but there were African queens, and they had the rings on their neck. Where do you think the Asians that later on mimicked that? That's where it came from. First of all, you're sparking me. First of all, whatever culture you are, let me just say this to your listeners, and I really love all of you that listen, so that we learn from each other and we get different perspectives. But I just want to share something. If you are lacking a certain percentage of melanin, or you are not or you don't have the phenotypes, right? The lips, the nose, the skin color like us, the certain things. Just know that whether you're Chinese or Filipino or white or so on and so forth, stop only going back to the part of the history that starts when people look like you. Go back far as you can, because that's true history. It's not history because you stopped. I think you were mentioning one time, Julius, about how something to the effect of they start us off. It's 2020 right now. And so people think that America is everything that it is from 0 to 2020.
No.
or whenever, as opposed to, no, what happened before that? What happened? And if you keep looking back further, what happened before, just know, anybody who's listening, you're going to notice that the people will get darker and darker and darker the further you go back. So stop being only willing to go back as far as what feels comfortable for your eyes to see.
Yeah.
Is my thing. I'm just going to say it because I did.
That's real.
True.
And that's the importance of reading books, right? Like you said earlier about the quarantine and we have so much time on our hands. That's the importance on reading books not told by the oppressors. Oppressors want to keep it as light as possible. So it will behoove us to get our history as Black as possible, just to get the other side. I mean, it literally doesn't make sense just to listen and learn everything that the white man or white woman as well has told us, or anybody, the Asian man, anybody who has lighter skin, as you just said, go a little further back and you will see that it will get a little darker. So two things, we have to read about Black authors, that's one, but two, women. We have to get both of those authors, both of those writers to retell history, because it was told, it was just erased. So we have to get them to retell it. And I mean, the life will be so much easier. It will be so much clearer. We will have a better understanding of life where we are today. We just pick up about 3 books.
Because I'm pretty sure that there's people out here that, I was born in 1990, so there's people out here that's my age, like, wait a minute, like, where did I come from? It's easier to say just Africa, but it's like, we don't really have that history in school. I mean, all we have is, it goes back to, slavery and stuff, and that's it. Like, no, like, what about the other parts? Like, we were already over here. Like, Indian descent. We were already over here.
Which I believe you're biracial. There's some Indians, rather Native American, or rather Native to rather wonderful lost tribes of Africa, wherever we want to call it. I hate calling it these other names that we're given, but sometimes we got to use the name we was given in order to communicate, right? But
it's just like, how do we tell our children, like, it's a different story. I mean, there's this story at school, and then you want to teach them this too. And then they go to school and they're like, asking the teacher about this, and then that sparks the other kids. It's kind of like how it's all in how. So I'm pretty sure that there's people out there that are wondering, like, where do we come from and all this and that. I mean, we all, have parts of each other. So like, it's really in depth.
And absolutely, and we have to. There's a need for us to. So people who are listening to this and wondering, like, well, what can I do to help? To help get any of our messages out. I like that. That Julius at some point we were talking before, and you're like, people have to start being responsible and do stuff, right? And some of the simple things that you can do that a person's not even thinking about the impact of, right? So again, I teach social emotional learning and anti-bullying to a lot of kids, and when I go into these schools and I see the little Black girl come up and she has her natural hairdo that I can tell that her parent likely just didn't get to, right? I walk by and I see it in all its beautiful nappy form, and I say, wow, your hair is beautiful. Well, how often are we saying that to somebody that didn't go get their fresh line up and their you know what I'm saying, when they're wearing their actual natural, right? Even though we know that kid probably just the parent didn't know, or maybe if you were in my case, I used to have my son, his hair was long and I didn't know how to braid and do all of that. I learned how to do ponytail pretty good. I don't mean somebody that just, I mean, like, those are things, little things like that, mentioning to someone that their hair is beautiful when it just looks as nappy and free flowed as it could possibly be is important. I'm not saying don't say it looks good if it's gotten done and it's neat. I'm not saying that, but we have to redefine the beauty, the appreciation of the beauty that we put there, right? So we have to name those things and call those things out. Even if we say words like, again, I don't know exactly what I haven't research where the word nappy comes from, if it was meant to be a negative or a positive. But in either case, celebrating that or not saying you have beautiful dark skin, that's nice. But if the person is already dark, you don't got to remind them of that. You just need to say you have beautiful skin. You don't say you look good to be black, or you look good to be that dark, or you aren't. That's not how you do that. You just give the compliment, right? And address some of these things that normally would be looked at as a negative. I don't know if you gotta go. I don't know if you're gonna go to school and say you have beautiful ashy ass arms. I don't know if we go that far with it, but I am saying, I don't know. Some ash might be beautiful in certain cases, but I'm just saying, you get my point. That's we can step out. I love leaving them with things that they can do right now. That's all. Just little things like that.
And I think that goes that goes a long way, man. Like, you really don't understand that kids, that's now. That's when their confidence is being built, their self-esteem, their value in life. Like, reminding a 6-year-old that they're enough is huge. So, because they're not gonna see it in the real world. They're not gonna see it on TV. They're not gonna see it on Netflix, and they're not gonna see it on Newsweek. They're not gonna see it in the media. They're not gonna see it on rap videos. So just us when we're at Safeway or at Costco, just seeing those 2 little black girls with little ponytails, or those 2 black boys with hoodies on and locks or a fro, just reminding them that they're enough, or that they're valuable, or that you love them. You could just, I love you, they might not have heard that in 2-3 weeks. And I think we confuse, or we love saying love, like it's that we can only use love when we know somebody. But we have to break that. We have to break that mold. We have to reassure people that we just love them, especially our black women. I mean, black women get it the worst. So the least that we can do as black men is do that. What that thing say? What that thing say?
You ain't supposed to say what it say. Now you done exposed our zoomage. Now, cause we be zooming. Hey y'all, you know what? Before we close out today, Julius, I wanted you to I know you kind of did this already, but I had planned on doing this so that you had space for this. But go ahead and if you want to mention a few 10 women or less names that you want to mention real quick before we close out, then and then we'll go to you, Queen Savage, and mention some of those people, and then I'll start it, and then we'll end with, and then we'll circle right around right there. And so I want to give a shout out my mother, Pearl Jones, my sister, Angie, Mona, Michelle, Jamila, and Michaela, wherever you might be, you're still my sister, though I ain't seen you since you were a few months old. And then Dewan, Rokia, Verna May, my beautiful numero uno, are Kenya Jackson. That's my wife, in case you didn't know. Now you know. And then I'm gonna throw my little one in there, Faye, my little granddaughter in there, and then right here, Queen Savage. Just shout out to all y'all good ones. Julius?
Yeah, I got about 4. I got moms. I gotta say what's up to moms. I wouldn't be half the person that I am today. Tracy, my sister, my oldest sister, she was like a second mom. And then Britt, my youngest older sister. I'm the youngest. I'm the only boy, and I'm the youngest. So I had none but women loving on me. So Britt, who just had a kid last week, I gotta say what's up to Britt. And then last but not least, Tasha. Tasha, I know Classic know of Tasha, but I don't believe the world does. So I gotta say what's up to Tasha. All of those women. We didn't get to that question. I'll make it brief. We didn't get to that question, but what women had the most impact in stages of your life? And all of those women had stages of great impact. And I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be saying what I'm saying today without those 4 women.
That's what's up. Quick shout out to Tiana too. We still love you, Tiana. What's happening? I hope New York treating you right. Queen Savage.
I want to say Juliet. That's my great grandmother. Alice Jean. My sister, Sine, and Kim. Kimberly, Hadia. Those are my 2 stepmoms. And my daughters, Jediah and Thea, and last but not least, Arcadia Jackson. That's my
wife.
Mom. That's my mom.
Right. And where can they get your music or check you out?
You can check out my album it's on all platforms. So Prolific Savage, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Tidal, Amazon. Prolific Savage, Queen Savage.
I went to iTunes and got mine, and it's banging. And so, having said that, we want to send once again happy Women's History Month to you. And as always, we promise our listeners that we will continue to make beautiful mistakes. We embrace the opportunity afforded by our ancestors to speak, whether right or wrong, weak or strong. We be learning humans, working on liberation and scaffolding a meaningful and fair existence for all. Until the next time, my natchez. Ooh, hooroo.